Good afternoon. This is Dr. Tom Smith. I am one of the leaders of the Costa Rica Study Abroad program, and I'm pleased to take some time here with my co-leader, Dr. Steve Peterson, who's going to come in here in a moment. And we're going to briefly go over the program to save you the time of having to ask us a lot of questions and repeat that. So with that, Dr. Peterson, would you like to come in and I'll swap out with you for a moment? Go ahead. Then I'll come back in and we can take off.
Okay. Hello. My name is Steve Peterson.
Take your mask off.
All right. This is me. This is Steve Peterson. I'm a professor here at BYU, and Tom Smith and I are leading this tour out in Costa Rica. And we'd like to introduce you to this topic about what we're going to be doing down there while we're in Costa Rica for a couple of weeks. Love to have you come, and so we just want to make sure you get to know us a little bit, and we'll introduce ourselves in this program right now, but we want to make sure we're COVID safe. So come back on in here, Tom.
I'm here, and I can, no, it's fine. I can tell you a little bit. Both Steve and I are professors in the Wildlife and Wildlands program. So, and that's who is the sponsor of the program, our department, and as biologists and wildlife biologists, and he's a range scientist on top, we're able to bring you down to this beautiful part of the world and lend our expertise to help you get the most out of this 2-week experience. And Steve, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, we've done this before. This is not our first time doing this. Tom's done it twice before. I've done it myself one time, and I've been there a couple times to Costa Rica, and it's a beautiful place. This trip, you would love it. It has a lot of very interesting and diverse parts that we bring to you and let you see these sites, and it's not worth a waste of your time. You'd love it.
I think you can tell from the background here, I'm a bear biologist. I've got lots of little bear tracks, and there's not a single bear in this area, but that's okay. That's part of the conversation. Why do we have bears to the south, and why do we have bears to the north? Similarly, Dr. Peterson works with lots of forestry issues and is able to talk about those unique properties in the Costa Rican forest. But what I wanted to do, and we don't want to make this too long, but we wanted to give you an overview of the program that's not what you can see on the ISP website under the Costa Rica PWS program. Now that's a 2-page flyer that's pasted there, and you'll see on there that the date is April 30th through May 14th, and that begins in San Jose. And the reason we do that, say begins in San Jose, is because students come from all over. I mean, you'll be here for the semester, but then some of them take off and go to Florida. So they'll be coming from Florida. I think the bulk will leave from Utah, but not everybody. So we say the program begins there, and then we run actually 14 days in country, plus or minus. We may make a few little minor adjustments, but this takes place after the end of everything from winter semester. So we've already had finals, convocation, graduation. That's all behind us. But that ends on a Friday, and then we leave on a Monday. So
there's a clear break though. So you don't have any anything left over with homework or assignments or tests. It should be all done. And when we go, there's no waiting around for work either. You can have this time to just go and do this and start a job when you get back. So there's not interfering with a lot of your summer. It's just right up front.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And that's one reason why PWS is sponsoring this, is so many of our students have summer jobs, and they're not able to do one midsummer or late summer, and also it's short. So it's only 2 weeks. And I think most anybody can take 2 weeks before they start their summer work.
Students have liked that. A lot of students we've talked to, that's been their favorite thing. They often will not go do a long semester abroad because it just interferes with their summer. So we designed this really so it does not have that much of an impact on the rest of your summer activities.
Now we'll jump to costs. This is an amazingly economical trip. I'm estimating about $1,300 this year, plus travel costs and food. Now, $1,300, we carved some off the last couple of years by driving to Las Vegas. That saved about $200 off of a $500 to $600 airfare, which is not bad, considering going from Las Vegas to San Jose, about a 6-hour flight. We've had students pick up tickets around $300, $350. I don't know in this COVID era, how that's going to be affected, but I
Mm.
see them as fairly competitive still.
Yeah.
But the point is, air travel is not very expensive, and food down there, Steve, it's pretty much the Costa Rican food. How would you explain that?
Oh, it's fantastic for one thing. It tastes really great.
Yeah,
And the prices are not outrageous. You can go shopping. There's a lot of stores around that have affordable food. And then even when you go out to eat, sometimes it's not poorly priced. I mean, there are some restaurants that are a little more expensive,
yeah,
but a lot of them are very affordable, and the food's great. You'll love it.
yeah. I'd say the prices for a lot of places that we eat, if we eat out, are not dissimilar to here in the States. Pretty close, maybe a little cheaper. What's interesting about our housing is that we'll be staying in local hostels, and those are pretty fun. The students really like them. They're kind of they have all kinds of different flavors to them. But one thing that's fun about it, it's very affordable as far as overnight accommodations, and it includes almost all of them include a breakfast.
Mhm.
The breakfast would be fruits and vegetables laid out, maybe, and one of the things they eat a lot is scrambled eggs, and then they have toast, and they've got pancakes is another one.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's kind of an all-you-can-eat breakfast, and our students have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's with other travelers, so that's the fun thing. We have, and the students will meet people from Germany or from other parts of Central America and South America and the U.S. And it's just a fun experience mingling at the hostels.
And for a lot of the students that come, a big part of the fun of this experience is that you're with other students who are from BYU, and that is just a really neat bonding thing that goes on with the people who are there.
It is. It's been a lot of fun, and that gets to a next point, which is not. I think it's probably on the Kennedy site, but you do not have to be a BYU student to go on these programs. We've had people from UVU, University of Utah, and people who are just from the community.
Mhm.
So the only requirement is that they're 18 years of age. And then we do one-on-one interviews with them to make sure that this is the program for them. So, because we'll have people that say, "I absolutely am going to go scuba diving in Costa Rica," and that turns out that the Kennedy Center doesn't approve of that activity. It's above their risk level.
Mhm.
But we do snorkeling, and we do get in the ocean quite a bit. And so, if that was the big thing for somebody, then no, we're not going to do that. Another aspect too that's important is being a BYU sponsored activity. We do go to church while we're there. It's I hate to say not optional, but in the Kennedy Center's Student Study Abroad Handbook, it says all participants are expected to attend church on Sundays. So, in case that's a concern, we do that.
And you want to go anyway. When we've gone
Yeah.
to church, it's just a highlight. The people there are excellent. You get to meet people who are local to those cities we go and visit, and they want you there. When you show up, it's a neat thing to have this big
Yeah.
crowd of students show up and be a part of their experience and
Oh,
worship with them.
It's been
neat.
it's been a highlight. It really has. And we also go to the temple. Those who are temple holder recommend go, and for those who might not, then we have an alternative activity. But that's been a highlight too.
Yeah.
Is being able to do a session in the temple with the locals. This Steve was intimating there. The spirit's just wonderful.
Yeah.
The people are very sweet and very grateful that we've taken time to spend with them. So that's a good thing.
It's good.
You can certainly, just as far as the process, it's pretty well explained on the Kennedy Center's webpage. But if you go to kennedy.byu.isp, you'll see a little box that says "Find your program." You type in there Costa Rica, PWS Costa Rica, and then on that page you'll see "Apply Now." The reason I bring this up, there is a $35 non-refundable fee for the application. Nobody will get that back if you, for some reason, pull out of the program. If you're not accepted into the program, then obviously you're not going to be assessed that. You'll get that back. But the next milestone would be there's a $500 payment, and the idea behind that is if you don't have people that invest in that at that point, then what happens is they're tying up spots that could be taken by people who are serious and are on a wait list. So to make certain that they are all in, you have to make that payment, and that is non-refundable. And again, if everything were refundable, then you'd have people go, "Okay, I'll pay that," and then they pull out. It's not very common, but it's just because on some of these programs that have maybe 10 people, that's not this one. We're taking 20 students, but where they have 10, that's really a problem. Now, if we're all going optimistically forward and assume that the COVID-19 pandemic will be uh, at least manageable to the point that we can air travel and go to foreign countries. But if something were to happen, and we hope not, we certainly will be able to refund all the money. So don't worry about that. I've had that come up already.
That's a good point.
And it's interesting. We haven't even launched the program yet, and I think we have 6 people signed up. I mean, they've come and said, we are going. It's a real popular program. So
We always sell out every time we've done this.
Yeah.
People want to come.
it's a blast.
It's affordable, it's short, the timing is right, people want to come and do this.
Now, one thing that did come up is as far as married couples, it seems to attract married couples, which is great. But we are trying to make it clear that if you get, and we can't do this, is guarantee a private room for married couples. So if a married couple signs up, then they acknowledge that they're likely to end up in a female dorm and a male dorm, or that sort of thing. If we have rooms, then we can go that route, and we'll try to. But it limits the venues that we can put our students in. When you're moving around with like 30 people, which by the time we had Steve and his wife Stacy, my wife Cynthia, that's now we're at 24, and sometimes there may be. I think in this case we have one of the international study program persons coming with us. And so pretty soon you've got this 30, 25, 30 people moving around. And if we say, oh, we've got 5 couples and they all need private, it just breaks down. So, be aware that that's there. If we can accommodate, by all means, we'll do that, but it's difficult. So married couples are welcome, but do understand that it's right now, it's dormitory sort of setup for males and females. Steve, you want to talk about the IAS 201R course?
So for every semester abroad trip you go on, the Kennedy Center requires that you take a class before we actually leave. And this always happens the second block of winter semester. So it's just for a few weeks that we meet, but you're required to attend. It's IAS 201R is the name of the class. We'll meet once a week and just for like an hour. That's always, for 1 hour,
we meet
typically about an hour. And so what we do is we go through the whole program with you. We describe where we're going to be going, what we'll be doing during that time, and how you can best prepare to come and have the best experience possible. There's a lot of things that help to get prepared with, like packing, knowing the things to bring, what to leave behind. You don't want to bring a bunch of extra stuff. Otherwise, you're just carrying a lot of dead weight around with you. You don't want to do that. So we go through and tell you all the things that you ought to have and what you need. There's some issues with health and making sure that you stay healthy and fit and well during that time. It's not uncommon for people to get bugs along the way and they start feeling sick. So to bring some medication along and things that will help you stay as healthy as possible during this time will be really to your benefit. And so plan on coming during that block, that second block. It starts in March 2nd is when it'll begin. And please come and participate. And we can, in that way, you also get to know the other people who will be coming on this trip as well. It's a chance to meet each other.
Yeah, I think you'll make some lifelong friends. We've had just a wonderful experience with the students and non-students that have come, and like Steve says, they get to know each other in this weekly meeting, and it's exciting. Steve,
that's great.
2 years ago when he and I did this, he invited some BYU Costa Ricans to come in. And it was very touching. They came in, they talked about their country. I remember they kept saying, now San Jose is not Costa Rica.
I did say that.
They said that because San Jose is a wonderful city draped over all these hills, but it's just total gridlock. But that, for me, that was a lot of fun.
It's still an interesting place.
Oh, it's
great.
absolutely amazing. We get out there and I said, just watch this traffic. And as long as you're there to kind of observe the whole phenomenon, it's like really cool.
Yeah.
And but San Jose was cool. It was a great place. We do
go to the temple is too, right?
The temple's in San Jose. When we arrive in San Jose. We spend 2 nights in hostels there. Nice, clean, good food, walking distance to town. We go to the Central Mercado, which is the big shopping area with all kinds of stores. And then we've gone to a couple museums. And it's just a really great experience to get to know about Costa Rican culture
Yeah,
and the people. And that's a lot of fun.
it is.
But yeah, San Jose is kind of different, but that's been great. And then Steve mentioned that packing. Now this is the ISP backpack, which you get as a part of enrollment in the program. This, for the 2 trips I've done, is all that students bring. They only bring this pack. It holds everything they need for 2 weeks, and it sounds like a hardship, but it works, and it works really well. And what you find is there's great freedom in not being burdened with some sea trunk on wheels. The other reason we do this is because we're renting part of the program cost to keep it low. We rent 12 passenger vans. We don't put 12 in there, but we can't have a lot of baggage. And I'm not pointing at anybody, but some would bring 3 or 4 big bags just because they haven't ever had to think about it. So this forces them to have to go light. But it's the tropics. You don't need a lot of clothing. And it's worked well. We've been able to attend churches in appropriate clothes, go to the temple, go to the beach, all that kind of thing. So that's kind of fun. The other thing I really like, so you'll learn how to light pack. That's a great thing. And I think hosteling is another amazing thing. Steve and I have also done a South Pacific study abroad. And oh my gosh, you go to Australia, Sydney, you're in a hostel right downtown.
Oh, they're just cool.
Oh, it's touted as one of the most expensive cities in the world, and here we are for $25 a night.
Yeah, it's
living.
a cool deal.
So it's something you need to experience. But anyway, it's 2 weeks of immersive learning. We stay in local hostels, we eat local food, we explore the coast, the oceans, the rivers, the estuaries, the valleys, the mountains, and we do what I call the basic Costa Rica bucket list for people exploring the country. And we've got kind of a bullet list here, Steve. I've already talked about museums. Do you want to talk about the estuaries over at Tortuguero?
Yeah, one of the first places we go is right down on the edge of the ocean. So you're low elevation. It's relatively hot and humid, but it's fantastic. So we get in these boats, we go out and we'll look at these forests up on the hillsides. We'll talk to you about forest ecology and why these ecosystems are where they're at and how they function. And then the biodiversity that occurs in those forests, we'll discuss that as well. And we see a lot of interesting things. We see crocodiles when we're down that estuary. We see toucans. There's several monkey species. We'll come across several while we're on this trip. It's not uncommon to see these. So there's a wide range of different species that occur in this canoe trip, right? You get really close to them as well. So you get right by pythons that are on the edge of the water.
A lot of
it's
big
really
snakes.
Cool stuff. There's some big snakes.
Yeah, our guide last time, Steve wasn't there. He went the time before, but he was born and raised in Tortuguero, and boy, could he tell stories. But it was amazing. He said, "I've been born here," and he had exquisite English. He says, "And I will die here." And he took us to some of his favorite places, and it was just really deeply moving to have a local share their world with you.
Yeah.
And as Steve said, it's pretty cool paddling and knowing there's like 14-foot crocodiles underneath your boat. But it was pretty fun. The students loved it. We also did what are called, we do several, almost all of our activities are naturalist led by local naturalists. And we do day hikes and night hikes. So we do a really fun hike in Tortuguero. You didn't do this. It's this great big mountain. It's got these wonderful, state-of-the-art stairways that go up, and you can overlook the entire coastal area. And we saw lots of poison dart frogs, which are bright yellow, bright red, bright blue, black markings. They were all over the place. And then there was a number of local mammals, and it was just a lot of fun. That was. I was thinking,
I think we had right by our lodging where we were staying, we had, I think, white-faced monkeys, what they're called.
Yeah, the white-faced
capuchins. The capuchins, they would come right in by where we're staying at. They're right there where you're at.
Oh, yeah.
And the trees right above you. It's really cool.
They call them the mafia monkeys, because they'll come in. It's pretty funny. I'm a biologist, so is Steve, and we like to watch wildlife, and I could sit there and watch the monkeys and tourists all day long.
Yeah, they're incredible.
But anyway, so it's cool. You are immersed, and we'll go over to that Tortuguero is right on the Caribbean Ocean, and walk the beaches and just explore. Then we take off from Tortuguero, and we've gone in the past to Venado Caves. And what did you think of that? It's a karst, Kars environment. It's a so there's lots of limestone and underground caverns, and we've done a couple-hour trip inside of a cave. It ain't Temp Cave.
It's not, I was going to say, it's not. A lot of things down there, they're awesome and exciting, but they're not like the accommodations we have here at home. But that makes it actually that much more adventurous.
Yeah, the students
really
have had fun. I mean, it's really cool.
It is way cool.
It's pretty amazing being able to do a cave in your swimsuit because it's not cold. Nothing's cold, but the guides there were very well informed, and we had lunch there as well. And it's a beautiful venue. So we've gone there, and then we head over to La Fortuna, I think, is where we ended up, and explore La Fortuna Falls, which is the iconic falls of Costa Rica. It just plunges off this mountain. I think it's 42 meters into a pool. The whole group, all of us, got out there and swam in it. And you put, I took my cell phone, put it underwater. It's just fish everywhere because my phone's waterproof. But we played in there for hours, and there's just fish everywhere, and we just had a great time down there. And then from there, we also this year did a toured a chocolate, what do you call it, plantation, where they showed the different types of chocolate trees that are being grown, the types of chocolates. They showed us how you can process that, everybody process it. We had the different drinks, and just had a lot of fun with that. And then we went to a wildlife conservation center where they take wounded or injured wildlife and rehab it. And the students really enjoyed that. It was because a lot of our students want to work in zoos, or they want to work with animals directly, and that was a lot of fun too. I'm trying to think. Also, then we went to Monteverde, which is up in the cloud forest. Steve, why don't you tell them about Monteverde, Salvatore, the fig tree?
Yeah, there's some great stuff to see in Costa Rica. I think my favorite are these cloud forests. The temperature goes down a bit, so you're not nearly as hot and humid, and it's just easier to go hiking without getting all sweaty. But the forests up there are incredible, and they've got these suspension bridges that go through the canopy and then above the canopy, so you're up and down throughout the structure of this forest. Gives us a great chance to talk about ecology and the species diversity that occurs in these different levels of that forest structure. It's just a neat place. They also have in that same area a zip line, and we've done this. When I went, we did this. You strap yourself up to a zip line system, and it just shoots you right through the trees, and once in a while you go above the trees. And one of those stretches, I think, was like 3/4 of a mile. I mean, just straight shot over the canopy.
1.5 kilometers or something.
Yeah, it's a
at one point you're up 800 feet.
Yeah, you're way
It might as well
up.
be 1,000. It doesn't matter. But it was fun. The students had a good time. And at that same place, there's a hummingbird feeding station. They have as many as 18 varieties of species of hummingbirds that come in. And I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, these just they're like buzzing, flying jewels. And I think the violet saberwing was my favorite. The thing just iridescent purple, and you can put your hands out and they'll land on your hands. But we just really enjoyed that place. It was a lot of fun.
It's a really neat area.
Had a good time. About the strangler fig tree.
Cool. So
that's kind of cool.
We'll tell you more about it when you come. But there's species interactions, right? Sometimes they facilitate each other. Sometimes species compete with each other. Once in a while, you have these relationships like a parasitic relationship or a host. Well, there's a fig that grows in a vine up and around other trees that are host trees. And then over time, they themselves grow and they grow big. And they'll actually squeeze the host tree to death. They'll kill them, which leaves this great big void in the middle of the tree. They call these things strangler figs or strangler vines. And there's one out there that you can actually climb, 40, 50 feet up there. I'm not sure how high. You go way up. And it's all open the middle. So it's like
monkey bars.
It's like monkey bars, like a ladder. And all the students will get in there and climb to the top. And when you're at the very top, you can poke your head out and look down over the forest. It's quite spectacular.
To get the scope of it, we had the whole class in this tree. So it's big.
These are big. These are big.
They're
trees.
very big, but that's just an odd one-off thing. But it was really cool.
It's a neat thing.
Yeah, it's really cool. And when we were there last time, Dr. Val Anderson here was with us, and there's morpho butterflies, the ones that are just the electric blue, flitting through the forest. And I mean, it was just magical.
Oh, they're incredible.
It was really cool. the other thing that we do is we will take, so we're way up in the mountains, we'll look at these volcanic ecosystems, we swim in hot springs. We went to Baldy Hot Springs.
Baldy's the best.
Yeah, we took students there for dinner. We have our program, I think the program costs cover, so breakfasts are almost always covered because of the places we stay. And then we cover out of 14 days, probably 6 dinners, something like that. So in between, you got to pick up the slack, but it's whatever you want to pay. But we'll go from those mountains, bend down to the coast, and we go to Capos, or we've done that. I think this year we're looking at maybe going to Corcovado and Capos, kind of a combination. But we go snorkeling in the ocean, and that's been a lot of fun. The students have a lot of fun with that. Tropical species of fish, brightly colored.
And we'll talk a lot about coral reefs.
Yeah.
They're a sensitive ecosystem themselves, and they're threatened, they're at risk. We talk about those associations again about species that co-occur in these coral reef beds. They're really amazing. And then you can put your snorkel on, you go down and look at it, and that's just a neat experience. You'll love it.
It's pretty nice. I think it's been a great trip. There's some really interesting stuff down in Capos. We'll go to Manuel Antonio. Actually, we go to 4 national parks, and this is some of the finest infrastructure you'll see anywhere. I mean, even compared to the United States, they've got us on a few things. I mean, beautiful walkways through the forest, through the estuaries. Yeah, you're not like wading through mud and stuff, although the one hike we do, but not in Manuel Antonio. And I mean, it's world class. I was in Manuel Antonio last time, and a whole group of squirrel monkeys came down, and these things just went crazy, and they were putting up like these mock fights, strangling each other, sort of thing, and then they'd play, and a little monkey ran around like he was a referee. If they got out of hand, he'd spank them. I was filming this. It was hilarious. And then we saw the white-faced capuchins there, and then I think there's spider monkeys. Now we see howlers, so there's 4 species of monkeys there, but we just love that whole Capos area. Was a lot of fun. We took everybody out to dinner in a aircraft. They do a lot of fun things there. We ate dinner in a tree, in an aircraft, and so forth, and a hot spring. So we kind of make some memorable experiences for everybody in the course of the trip. So,
and we're not sitting around. This is 2 weeks of serious action. We like to keep going, so we're moving a lot.
Yeah.
But that just gives you that much more of an experience, that many more opportunities to go and see things and experience Costa Rica really well.
Yeah, and what's interesting about in the past 2 trips I've done, about half the students speak Spanish, but a lot of that, Costa Rica is definitely an eco-tourist destination. So almost everybody we interface with speaks pretty darn good English. But it was fun to get off the beaten trail and have some of our Spanish speakers be the interface for us. That was a lot of fun. And then also we would, go into the city and go shopping and the different places. But Costa Rica is very friendly, very safe. I think as far as illness, our students have generally done very well. We've had a few that have gotten a little bit of upset stomach, that sort of thing. But of course, we practice good, cleanliness now and all that sort of thing. The food, though, has been not a problem at all. The only other thing I would add is, typically this trip, we're going to ask everybody, actually require them whenever we're in the ocean, to wear a whole covering, because the sun's it's an unexpected intensity, and it's burned a few, not a lot, but
we're near the equator, and so the sun, it's just right there, buddy. It gets hot. People burn easily down there. It's easy to get sun sick.
The other thing that's kind of fun, everywhere we stay, they have hammocks hung up all over them. The students just go into those things, and it's a great place to unwind. And as Steve said, we're on the move all the time, but there is time to unwind and kind of relax in the evenings. So that's not too bad. We also, I didn't mention, we did with you, and we did this year, a rafting trip. It's quite a few miles through the Costa Rican jungles on whitewater rafts, and people just love that trip. That's been a lot of fun.
And if you're into birds at all, it turns out that Costa Rica has so many birds, it's unbelievable. And they range in size, types, so I do a lot of birding myself. Tom's big into it himself. We go out bring your binoculars. We'll go look at these different species of birds. You'll love them. They're really cool.
Well, and to put it in perspective, in Costa Rica, one national park we go into has more species of birds than all of North America combined. So 20% of the world's biodiversity is in this country. I mean, it's just
It's
amazing.
remarkable.
Yeah, you've got fireflies, you've got beetles with headlights on them, you've got just all kinds of snakes, birds.
The plants too. If
And
you're
the plants,
if you're into any kind of plant life, if you like trees, if you like flowering plants, man, the list goes on and on. There's
Yeah.
so many things to look at down there. It's really incredible.
So we're hoping here to have covered basic questions you might have, so that then if you have any more, you can certainly contact us through the website, or we'll see you in an interview. But other than that, I think that's all I have. How about you,
That's it.
Steve? Anything else?
Oh, I thought a little bit. You mentioned about staying at these hostels. I think
Yeah.
that we're able to do laundry during the summertime. Sometimes these places have laundry machines. So if you're worried about having to bring up clothes and stuff for the entire trip, you don't have to do that. We will have a chance to wash clothes, and we'll just make sure you feel like you're fresh and moving along. And
Yeah,
good place.
it's kind of humid there, so people shower every night. They have a good shower. They sleep in clean bedding. And so and what I've done is I've actually just used the sink sometimes and washed like anything I needed and hung it up to dry, and it's dry by morning. But a couple places have had washers and dryers, and there's always a laundromat locally, so that's not been a problem.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of surprising is everything's pretty top notch. I think like the vehicles have always been very, high-end vehicles, nice vans that we've had. The hostels, even as cheap as they are, some of them are as cheap as $10 a night per person, and they provide a meal. They're clean. They might be old. They're not like a brand new big box hotel, but that's part of the Costa Rica experience, I think. But they've been clean. We haven't had any real problems with that. So
I'd add to that too. These people take great pride in their country. This is a neat place, and they put a lot of money and effort into making it good for people like us, for tourists that come down. Part of it is for us to also be nice to them, to treat their land and their resources well. We need to be very respectful to them and what they have to offer us.
So if you don't have anything else, we can give you the standard Costa Rican farewell, pura vida.
Pura vida.
And we hope to see you on the trip.
Yep.
Thanks so much.